More than half of England now officially in drought. Weeks of continuous dry weather taking its toll on water supplies. More than 20 million people are already under hosepipe bans, and much of the country is now experiencing the fourth heatwave of the summer. It comes as today marks the 7th day of 2026, where somewhere in the UK recorded a temperature of 35 degrees or higher. Sky Science and Technology editor Tom Clark has this report.
England's fields are parched, some even scorched by wildfires. Rivers and reservoirs are running low and the heat waves continue. All the ingredients for drought. And now it's official. The Environment Agency has declared half of England is in drought, with 7 regions across central, eastern and southern England affected. Almost a third of the country, including Yorkshire, parts of the southeast and northwest, is now in prolonged dry weather status, putting increasing pressure on farmers and water resources. Meanwhile, only the northeast is seeing normal conditions for this time of year. Why? Well, England's only had 7% of its average July rainfall. The south of England, just 1%. On top of that, there's the severe heat. 12 consecutive days, 30 degrees or above, driving off what little moisture there is in the soil. Drought criteria informed by river gauges, rainfall data and monitoring sites like this one, part of a UK-wide network measuring soil moisture based, get this, on how it scatters cosmic rays from space.
The Cosmic Ray Neutron Sensor provides a field-scale measure of soil moisture. So we're counting neutrons over an area probably about 200 metres radially from this point. So if we're looking around us now, that's covering this field and a few of the adjacent fields as well.
What are we looking at here?
What we're seeing here are probably very similar values in terms of the soil moisture for the site, but we're seeing it reach those values very quickly and probably a bit earlier on in the season than we did previously.
So what does a declaration of drought actually mean? Well, for most of us, not very much. 7 out of the 9 big water companies in England have already imposed hosepipe bans on us. But if you're a farmer, it spells disaster.
At the minute, everything is being challenged, and so that is a direct result on our cash flow, you know, and farmers won't have the cash to reinvest in their enterprises at all. The whole aspect of the industry is depressed, is the easiest way of saying it, and it is right the way across the board, in the drought areas in particular.
The declaration signals to farmers, water companies and industry to prepare for lean times, possibly for a long time. Rain forecast next week will be insufficient to reverse the drought. The long-range outlook is for high pressure and drier than average weather. An end to this drought may not come till autumn. Tom Clark, Sky News in Hungerford, Berkshire.
Now let's speak now to climate scientist and Professor of Hydrology at the University of Birmingham, David Hannah. Good evening to you, David. Thank you so much for coming onto the programme to talk about this drought in the UK. The big question is, could we have avoided this? Could we have been better prepared?
So the current drought that we're experiencing is the result of what's called a combination of a flash drought. We have a combination of high air temperatures and low rainfall. As your report said, we've had a dramatic shift in our weather, in that we had an exceptionally wet winter where reservoirs and groundwater reservoirs were filled. But since then, we've had a very dry spring, and into July, we had incredibly dry conditions with 7% of the expected rainfall nationally, 1% in the southeast. And at the same time, we had 3 heat waves, so increasing evaporation and also increasing demand. So this combination of low rainfall and high temperatures has resulted in drought conditions. These types of events we might well expect, in that this is the 2nd consecutive summer we've had these types of conditions, and the 3rd time in 5 years we had a drought like this back in 2022. So it's really putting pressure on water resources, but is the type of more extreme climate that we might expect under climate change.
Yeah, just listening to our science correspondent there in his report, he was saying that, you know, these drought conditions are likely to last until autumn. What are the effects that will leave us with? What are the long-lasting effects of what's happening right now?
You know, the drought has significant impacts, both economically, socioeconomically, and on human health and ecosystems. So in terms of the economic impacts, we can expect there to be reduced agricultural production, as your piece showed, also reduced yields, and there'll be real costs for farmers as a result of that. We've also seen the possibility of more field fires, so we can have wildfires and fires occurring in agricultural landscapes, and impacts on not just arable farming, but on livestock and on the supply chains. The impacts also affect river levels as well as soil moisture. So we have issues around navigation and recreation for people and industry. And there's particular concerns across Europe at the moment, which is experiencing similar very warm conditions around power production, the ability to take on cooling water and to discharge heated effluent. There's also impacts upon people in terms of health, in terms of dehydration, heat stress, etc., particularly for the young and the old. But the real and longer term impacts, I think, are on the ecosystems themselves in terms of impacts on biodiversity, potential on fisheries. So we don't need to think about water quantity, but also water quality and water temperature that can impact upon fisheries, and impacts more broadly on the environment and the green spaces we use and the habitats that provide communities amenity and also for good for well-being. So some quite significant impacts.
And the current drought now means that there have been 3 droughts in the past 5 years, and we keep hearing that these long, dry, hot spells are going to continue. How can we future-proof? What needs to be done?
Yeah, I think they're becoming more frequent, as you say, and they can have serious impacts, as I've noted. I mean, the water companies and the regulators are working on this, so thinking about ways in which we can use water resource planning. We had a very significant drought, a landmark drought back in 1976, but we haven't built any reservoirs since. There's now plans for 8 or 9 new reservoirs. But we need to also think not just about the ways in which we supply water, but how water is used. We need to think about regulation around abstraction, about how we might release water strategically from reservoirs for ecological and societal benefit. And we also have a part to play as consumers, thinking about the ways in which we use water so it can be provided in a fair and sustainable manner.
David Hannah, really good to talk to you this evening. Thank you so much. Professor of Hydrology there at the University of Birmingham. His comments on the current drought in the UK, 7 areas in the UK currently under drought conditions. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you.